Hi, and welcome to Regents Review. This is January 2014. As I promised, a video to go along with part 1, and then I'll do another video for part 2. For number 1, what is the common difference in the sequence 2a plus 1, 4a plus 4, 6a plus 7, 8a plus 10? So to find the common difference, you simply subtract 4a plus 4 minus 2a plus 1. So make sure you distribute your negative. So when you subtract, you'll have 3 and 2a plus 3, which is choice 1. For number 2, which expression is equivalent to 3x squared to the negative 1? The whole thing's being raised to the negative power, so it's just 1 over 3x squared, and to the negative 1 power is just a positive 1 in the denominator, so it is again choice 1. Question number 3, if g of x is equal to 1/2 x plus 8 and h of x is equal to 1/2 x minus 2, what is the value of g of h of negative 8? Well, when it's written like this, we start on the inside, work our way out. So we're going to substitute negative 8 into h. So h of negative 8 is equal to 1/2 times negative 8 minus 2. So negative 4 minus 2 is negative 6. And now I'm going to substitute that into g. So g of negative 6 is 1/2 times negative 6 plus 8. 1/2 of negative 6 is negative 3 plus 8, which is 5, and that is choice 3. For number 4, the expression 1 over 7 minus the square root of 11 is equivalent to, well, we have to multiply by the conjugate here, and that would be 7 plus radical 11. In the numerator, we don't have to worry about distributing for this one, so it's 7 plus radical 11. All over, oh, look at that. If we look at our multiple choice, it automatically gets rid of choices 2 and 3. 2 and 4, sorry. And let's see here in the denominator, 7 times 7 is 49. Negative radical 11 times radical 11 is going to be minus 11. So this is 7 plus radical 11 over 38. So number 4 is also choice 1. All right, next page. Number 5, the expression a plus b over c is divided by d minus b over c is equivalent to, my LCD here is c. So multiply everything by c. So it becomes AC plus b over CD plus b. So AC plus b over CD, oh, that's a minus sign here, my bad. That should be minus, not plus. So it's choice 3. A school cafeteria has 5 different lunch periods. Cafeteria staff wants to find out which items on the menu are most popular, so they give every student in the first lunch period a list of questions to answer in order to collect data to represent the school. Which type of study does this represent? An observation, a controlled experiment, population survey, or a sample survey? Since it's not interviewing everybody, it is a sample survey. If they surveyed everybody, they asked everybody in all 5 periods, then it would be a population survey. For 7, which relation is both 1-to-1 and onto? 1-to-1 means the y values do not repeat, so that gets rid of choices 1 and 2, or 1 and 3. And onto means all the y values are used, which gets rid of 4. So number 7 is choice 2. All right, next page. Number 8. Max solves a quadratic equation by completing the square. He shows a correct step. What are the solutions to his equation? So we'll just pick up from where he left off, take the square root of both sides. So x plus 2 equals plus or minus 3i, and then subtract the 2. So x equals negative 2 plus or minus 3i. So that is choice 2. Which expression represents the total number of different 11-letter arrangements that can be used made using the letters in the word mathematics? Well, we know we have multiple letters being repeated, so that means my denominator is going to have more than one factorial in it, so that gets rid of 1 and 3. We never add the factorials, so that gets rid of 2, so it is choice 4. But just to kind of write it out for you, it's 11 factorial. I have 2 A's, or 2 M's, sorry, times 2 A's times 2 T's. So that's where it's coming from. Number 10, if $5,000 is invested at a rate of 3% interest compounded quarterly, which would give the N as 4, what is the value of the investment for 5 years? Use the formula. So P is what A is what I'm looking for. I'm given P is 5,000. 1 plus R is 0.03 divided by 4 raised to the 4 times 5. So 5,000. 1 plus 0.03 divided by 4 is 0.075. 75 to the, alright, so it's 1 plus 0.0075 to the 20th. So it's 5,000. 1.0, sorry. Hang on, let me erase that. I can't write tonight. So it is 1.0075 to the 20th. So at this point, I'm just going to type it into the calculator. So it's 5,000 and parentheses 1.0075. Close my parentheses, raised to the 20th power. So to the nearest cent, it is 5,805. $92. So that is choice 3. All right. For number 11, the roots of the equation are what? Find the discriminant. So get it equal to 0. So it's 2x squared minus 9x plus 4 equals 0. So b squared minus 4ac. So I have 81 minus 4 times 2 times 4. So 81 minus 16 times 2 is 32. So 81 minus 32 is 49. And 49 is a perfect square. That means that this number is under the radical in the quadratic formula. And if this number is under the radical and it's a perfect square, that means I'll be able to take it. So I can get rid of irrational. Imaginary would have to be negative. Equal would have to be equal to 0. So that just leaves me with choice 2. All right, for number 12, if d varies inversely as t and d equals 20 when t equals 2, what is the value of t when d equals negative 5? So it is dt equals dt. So I have 20 times 2 equals negative 5 times t. So 40 equals negative 5t. So t is equal to negative 8. And that is choice 3. If the sine is a equal to negative 7 over 25 and a terminates in quadrant 4, then the tangent of a equals, well, we are in quadrant 4. Sine is, there's a, opposite over hypotenuse. If I need to, I can do a squared plus b squared equals c squared here. So negative 7 squared plus b squared equals 25 squared. Oops. That did not do what I wanted it to do. Okay, so 49 plus b squared is equal to 625. So b squared is equal to 576. So b equals 24. And tangent would be opposite over adjacent, so negative 7 over 24. So that is choice 2. 14, they did what I was showing you in class here. They have two different variables, so you can't just substitute this into the calculator. So we have to substitute in for n, 1 through 4. So we have a minus 1 squared plus a minus 2 squared plus a minus 3 squared plus a minus 4 squared. And what that squared really means is write it twice. So it's a minus 1 times a minus 1, and you're going to have to FOIL that. You'll have a squared minus 2a plus 1 plus, the same thing's going to happen here. It'll be a squared minus 4a plus 4 plus a squared minus 6a plus 9 plus a squared minus 8a plus 16. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4a squareds. Negative 2 and negative 4 is negative 6. Negative 6 and negative 6 is negative 12. Negative 12 and negative 8 is negative 20a. 1 plus 4 is 5. 5 plus 9 is 14. 14 plus 16 is 30. So it's choice 4. The hard part about that one is the fact that you have to write it twice and actually FOIL it out. What are the coordinates of the center of the circle whose equation? Well, this is completing the square. Group your x's. So I have x squared minus 16x plus, leave a space, plus y squared plus 6y plus, leave a space, equals, move the 53 over, so it's negative 53. So for the x, b, oops, sorry. So for the x, b is equal to negative 16. Half of b is negative 8. Half of b squared is 64. So I'm going to add 64 here. Add 64 to the other side. And then for the y's, b is 6. Half of b is 3. Half of b squared is 9. So add 9. Add 9. Here we have x minus 8, the quantity squared, plus y plus 3, the quantity squared. All I'm doing is factoring them. And then negative 53 plus 64 plus 9 is 20. And they ask for the center, so take your opposite, so it's 8, negative 3, which is for 15, choice number 3. All right. Next question. For y equals 3 over the square root of x minus 4, what are the domain and the range? Well, because I have a radical in the denominator, I have to take what's underneath it and make it greater than 0. So x has to be greater than 4. It cannot be equal to 4. And since it's a radical, I'm never going to get a negative answer. Therefore, y has to be greater than 0. But the question is, can it be equal to 0? And that would be no. Because if I put in, let's see here. If I look at it in the graph, let's see, figure that out. Three divided by parentheses square root of x minus 4 all under the radical. And I go to my table. Yep, I can see where my domain is. And then if I actually look at the graph, you can see that it never actually equals 0. It's just going to get real close to 0. So that would make it 16 is choice 1. When I looked at the graph, it did something like this. And it gets really, really close to 0, but never actually touches it. For 17, a math club has 30 boys and 20 girls. Which expression represents the total number of 5 different member teams consisting of 3 boys and 2 girls that can be formed? Well, first of all, we never add. And we're making a team, and since order doesn't matter, they're not first place, second place, or third place, or anything like that, therefore it has to be combination, so that just leaves you a choice 2. And what it is, you have 30 boys and you're choosing 3, so it's 30 choose 3, and you have 20 girls and you're choosing 2, so it's 20 C2. What is the product of the roots of x squared minus 4x plus k if one of the roots is 7? Well, let's find the other root. I have the sum, the a and the b, so negative b over a is equal to 4 over 1, so it's equal to 4. If root 1 is equal to 7, root 1 plus root 2 has to be 4. So 7 plus root 2 is equal to 4. So root 2 is equal to negative 3. And the product of my roots is 7 times negative 3, which is negative 21, which is choice 3. For number 19, triangle DEF, D is 5, E is 8, and angle D is 32. How many distinct triangles can be drawn given these measurements? Well, D is 5, E is 8, so D is less than E. Find the height, and this is 32. So find the height, so the sine of 32 is equal to the height over 8. So 8 sine 32 is equal to the height. Make sure your calculator's in the correct mode. It needs to be in degree mode to do this. 8 sine 32 is 4.2. So if my height is 4.2 and my leg is 5, that means I can have 2 distinct triangles, my acute and my obtuse. We know it can never be 3. So it's always 1, 2, or 0. Okay, for number 20, this is applied to a college that requires students to score in the top 6.7% on the mathematics portion of an aptitude test. The scores on the test are approximately normally distributed with a mean score of 576 and a standard deviation of 104. What is the minimum score Liz must earn to meet this requirement? Well, there are a couple different ways we can do this. The easiest way using the calculator is to do normal CDF. And normal CDF. My lower bound, everything has to be, let's see here. Oh no, sorry, we can't do normal CDF after I reread that. So let's just map it out here. I'm going to erase that so I can use that area to write. All right. Okay. This is 576. Add, oh, instead of 2, that's a 7. So 576 plus 104. 1 standard deviation above the mean is going to be 680. 2 standard deviations above the mean. This 104 is 784. Okay, and if you are going to, let's see here, add your standard deviations, you need to look at your chart and determine exactly how many standard deviations you need to have to get the 6.7% in the college. So, all right, and then you're also going to need to do this half standard deviation there, and that is 732. And everything above here, by using my chart that you find in the back of the book, this is 6.7% of my data. So 6.7%, the lowest value is 732, because it's actually 1.5 standard deviations above the mean. So you have to get 1.5 standard deviations above the mean. You could use the inverse norm of this one. The area is 0.067. Let's see here. Alright, this is just easier done by hand than it is on the calculator. Alright. Yeah, that would be a lot harder to do on the calculator. Easier done by hand. Alright, next question. Oh, the expression is equivalent to. Well, we have two choices. We can simplify then multiply, or multiply then simplify. When you're dealing with cube roots, and it's probably easier to simplify than multiply. The cube root of 27 is 3. So cube root of x squared. 16 is not a perfect cube, but you can take 8 out, which is a perfect cube, so it's 2 cube root Oh, I have x to the third, so it's be x, and then it'll be on my left-hand side 2. X is what I'm left with inside, so if I multiply my outsides, I get 6x cube root x, sorry, 2 x to the 1, 2, 3, and you can take that out, so it's 6x squared cube root 2. So that is choice 4. Which sketch shows the inverse of y equals a to the x, where a is greater than 1? Well, if I have this graph here, this is an exponential, and exponentials are in 1 and 2. The inverse is a log. Log has to be in 1 or 4. If a is greater than 1, that means my graph is going to be an increasing exponential, and that's what number 1 looks like. So if we find the inverse, you flip it over the line y equals x, your reflection is your inverse. And in this case, that would make, sorry, number 3 the correct answer, because that reflects over that line. Choice 2 is an exponential decay, because it's going down. Okay. Next page. For 23. The expression. Okay, so we're going to have to divide, and we're going to have to do some factoring here. So let's see here. This would be x plus 11 times x minus 2 over x plus 11 times x minus 11 times, because state change, and then flip over 2 minus x. Well, one of my x plus 11s goes. My x plus 2, my 2 minus x become negative 1. So it's 1 over a negative x plus 11, but I don't see an answer that looks exactly like that. So that's 1 over negative x minus 11. So, sorry, that was x minus 11 here. So that would make this plus 11. Negative x and a positive 11 would be choice 4. All right, for 24, all right, this one's a little bit different than what we're normally used to seeing. Usually this is equal to 0, less than 0, or greater than 0, but that is not the case here. And without making this a really, really hard problem, I'm just going to look at my solutions and test them out and see if they're true. All right, for number 1, I'm just going to pick a value that's in the solution set. I'm not going to pick 5 because that is present in all the answers, and that's not going to help me. So let's pick 6. 6 plus 16 is 22. And then, so I have 22 over 6 minus 2 is 4. 22 fourths is 5.5. 5.5 is less than 7. So 1 is a potential answer. That means if I go to choice 2, it is not an answer because I don't have anything larger than 5 in choice number 2. And then we already said that 5.5 works. So I can get rid of choice 2. That means I can also get rid of choice 4 because, again, I have to have a value greater than 5.5. So That leaves me with 1 or 3. We know 1 works, but let's just check 3. A good number to check in 3 is 0. If I put in 0, I will have 16 over negative 2, and that's negative 8. Is negative 8 less than or equal to 7? Yes, it is. That is true. Number 1 doesn't have those values, so therefore we can't use number 1. We have to use number 3. You could also use the test feature on the calculator with your 1s and 0s and see your substitutions that way. That's it for that page. Getting close to the end. Which equation represents a graph that has a period of 4 pi? So 2 pi over b is equal to the period, and in this case that's 4 pi. So if we cross multiply, I have 4 pi b equals 2 pi divided by 4 pi. B is equal to 1/2. The only trig equation that has a b value of 1/2 is choice 1. 26. The expression is equivalent to. We always want to keep factoring to see if we can go that way, because that's usually the easier route. And they have a GCF of x plus 2, so let's pull out the x plus 2. And I'm left with x squared minus, there's no number in front of there, so it's 1. So I have x plus 2, and then x plus 1, x minus 1. And that is choice 4. Oh, last one for the multiple choice. Approximately how many degrees does 5 radians equal? Well, for 5 radians, I'm going to multiply by 180 over pi to figure out how many degrees that is. So 5 times 180, and that is 900 divided by pi. It is not choice 2. And 900 over pi isn't going to simplify to 5 pi. And it's not going to simplify to pi over 27, but I bet you if I put it into the calculator, it's going to give me 286.4788976. So it is choice 1. All right, that wasn't too bad of a part 1. I think it was fair. I think it was a little bit easier than last June's, so hopefully you found it to be a little bit easier too. I'm going to do parts 2, 3, and 4 in a separate video. Okay?